This is a message from your guides reading for Human Angel. Okay, so I have 3 crystals here, 2 group crystals, and 1 my rose quartz here that I pulled for your reading that I'm going to use to surround us in some positive protective space. Okay, so my 2 other crystals here are zoisite and sodalite. I had to remember the name there for a second. I actually pulled this one for your last reading too, I'm pretty sure, and I forgot to mention it, I think. Okay, so this one has to do with abundance, being open to all forms of abundance, and trusting the universe, trusting divine unfoldment kind of thing, and trusting um, that we will see a positive outcome. And then sodalite is a throat chakra stone, so setting boundaries, communicating. There's a lot of authority with sodalite, so communicating in an authoritative way, expressing yourself authentically, setting boundaries. Like I said, there's also some third eye stuff with sodalite as well, especially having to do with mental focus and clearing your thoughts or adjusting them in a way that benefits you better. That feels like more specifically for your reading, adjusting your thoughts in a way that serves you better. So I feel like that's something that you have been going through. I don't feel like you are necessarily always aware um, until something really hits you of how much something is benefiting you. Um, until the improvements kind of smack you in the face, you don't always realize it. So I feel like that's even part of the reason that sometimes your guides are like more reiterating the things that you are doing and talking about why they are working. So then you're kind of saying, I feel like they're being a little bit vague. I want to know exactly how do I remove this. But from what they're suggesting, not that you can't do any more. So I feel like they can say some more. Um, but I feel like one thing that they definitely want to get across is that what you were doing has been working. So in the email, when you were talking about the different things that you were doing, how you were getting into more of a regular kind of structure with doing certain things that were benefiting you. So then in the reading, they were talking about habits, how you have bad habits, and that creates thought forms. And so when you create new habits, you basically uproot those thought forms, you replace those thought forms. And it's the same with thoughts and emotions. So some of it has to do with replacement. It has to do with identifying bad habits, but then to remove the habit, it can't only be about removing the habit sometimes. Sometimes you have to also have something else to fill the space. Not always. Sometimes you just stop doing that thing, but normally you're going to end up filling that space with something, even if it's something else that you were already doing. You're not just going to stand there, or even if it's thoughts. You're going to have some other thought in your head, even if you're choosing to keep catching a specific thought or a specific emotion and instantly shift it every time you notice it. Well, you're going to shift it to something else, or you're just going to try and keep your mind off of it maybe, but your mind is still going to be having other thoughts, or you're going to be having other emotions. So they're talking about replacing habits, and even if your mind, even if it has to do with your mind, like mental thoughts, this is in a sense a habit. Even if it isn't a physical action, it's something that you regularly think, and you're used to processing certain thoughts, certain emotions. Sometimes you have to have a different physical thing that you do that you notice maybe lightens your mood. Maybe it helps you to feel more joyfully, or even think more joyfully, think more positively about, or from a positive perspective. So the things that you've been stuck in, um, the attitudes that thought forms cause you to have, or moods they cause you to be in, the thoughts that they cause you to be in. It's like it all structures your day, um, and your night, or at least while you are awake, especially. Um, what you are thinking, what you're eating, even energies that you're open to, so that you're absorbing from around you because you're open to them, or that you're not, that you're closed off to, whether those are positive or negative. And then also things that you are manifesting, like physical things that you're going to end up seeing around you in your space. Whether it's literally like a whole change of environment, or it's just very simple things in your space change according to your thoughts, according to your moods. But they're saying that this is really how you delete thought forms. Yes, there's definitely energetic work that you can do as well. So there are things that they can talk about that. There are things that they can talk about when it comes to that also. A lot of those things you've done too. I feel like there are other things with that they could go over. But with this specifically, when it comes to almost like physical actions, and some of it feels like you have to identify it yourself. So they could suggest 10 different things to you. A lot of that would just be different things that come to you. And those are suggestions. They're like ideas that pop into your head. And then you decide what works for you, what benefits you the most. So in other words, you're going to notice the most shifts by doing certain things. You're going to notice what shifts your mood the most, for instance, or what shifts your thought processes the most. Some people, for instance, maybe meditation will really help them to get into a still space, and it will shift their thoughts, or they'll be in a higher vibration. Some people might get stuck in more negative thoughts and they're not able to meditate. And so meditation doesn't necessarily serve them if that's the case, if they're just attacked by a bunch of thought forms. So maybe they would need to do some kind of action like running or something. They need to do the opposite. They need to stir up energies and remove things that way. But they're saying that when you think about it, your whole life is composed of physical actions when it comes to the 3D world and your life. But even when you're out in the astral, I'm sure you've noticed, okay, you're not in a physical body, but you're always doing something. You're always going somewhere, you're always talking to someone. So it's some kind of action that you are taking, even if you don't quite understand what it is when you're in the astral, because it's not like you're always consciously aware of exactly what you're doing. You just have some of these memories when you're coming back, or maybe you're like partially conscious, and so you're remembering it. But you're always doing something. So really the most successful way to them, or one of the most successful ways, would be shifting physical actions, and it has to do with identifying what causes you to do different physical things. Like, for instance, eating, they're saying. Just because that's a really common thing that people can tend to understand. Um, you know, people know what they're going to eat. You know what you're going to eat if you're feeling worse or if you are feeling better. If you're feeling better, you're going to tend to eat something more higher vibrational. Even if it's a little heavier, it's still not going to be really bad food necessarily. Obviously, there might be some exceptions to that, but in general, people tend to go for really bad food when they're feeling the worst emotionally, and they feel like it comforts them, but really it's because it matches them. So they almost feel like they're not alone in it because now something is matching this. So really, they're saying that what you want to do. Okay, so you can see by that, they're saying that people tend to take actions that match whatever vibration that they are on. And then this just continues to cause them to attract more things on that vibration and keep them vibrationally on that same frequency where they're attracting the same stuff over and over and over again. And they're in this cycle that they don't know how to get out of. And it does have to do with shifting thoughts and shifting your mood, but they're saying that a physical action is going to do that, because they're also saying that you have habits of being in certain physical actions, and so it's like almost like your mind ends up associating certain moods and certain thoughts with certain actions. Even if it's, I wake up in the morning and I'm in this habit of being bombarded with these certain thoughts or these certain emotions. Maybe that even had to do with the last thing that I did when I went to bed. So maybe something that you do before you go to bed can help shift that. But then even if you're just laying there when you get up, what's the first thing that you do out of that? So the thing to shift would be some kind of action, even if it's visualizing in the morning something that you want to create, or something that will make you feel better. Maybe it's singing a song or whatever is going to help you feel better. In other words, doesn't have to be a specific thing. It's something that gets you, breaks up that frequency, in other words, that you are in and that you are attracting, that's coming towards you. It breaks it up. It puts you in a new dimension in a sense where you're going to attract something else. They're not saying in a sense, they're saying it is. It's like another dimension that you're entering because your vibration is raising. Same with if your vibration lowers. Now you're in this lower dimension, you're going to attract these other lower vibrational things. Um, or people who are going to match your frequency that day. It might be the same exact person, but you see them the day before and they're in a happier mood, and so are you, or vice versa. And they're saying not that everything and everyone around you always completely matches or syncs that way, but still you tend to bump into things that constantly are reminding you of the vibration and the frequency that you're on, and you tend to keep on attracting that. And you can also, even if you're on a higher vibration, you can be attracting something from when you were on a lower one, that just took a little while to come towards you, and you're still attracting something out of that, and then that can pull you into a lower mood, or you can choose to ignore it or shift out of it if you need to, or if you can. But they're saying that it all has to do with shifts, and a lot of that has to do, most of it they're saying has to do with physical actions or a deliberate action, even if it's a deliberate thought. But deliberate thoughts tend to lead you, they tend to link up to deliberate actions. You're going to do something out of a thought. You're going to think something out of an emotion. You're going to do something out of an emotion. You're going to feel something out of a thought. You're going to do something out of a thought. So they're saying that everything is like triggering everything. But then they're saying that what is happening around you, the things that you're seeing, it's like it's a mix of all of that, and plus what's happening on your subconscious as well. The subconscious level of you are really levels of you. Okay, let's go to some of these questions here. Okay, so they are going straight to this last question. Let's see, from your, wow, this was a little while ago. This was a few emails ago, but they didn't answer this. So this question was about creating, or maybe they did, I don't know, but they're addressing this one. So this question has to do with creating spaces. Okay, they're saying that they didn't answer this question. It has to do with creating spaces in the astral for a certain purpose. And then you're listing some of the for instances. So they're saying that you can, but it really, it has to do with how conscious you are in the astral. If you were more conscious of your astral traveling, then you would be able to do that. They're saying that you can almost, they're saying that you can almost like direct beforehand, almost if there's a certain thing that you would want to do, you can almost direct that. But they're almost, it seems like they're kind of not really wanting you to do that though, because it almost feels like it would take away from what you are focusing on right now in the astral, even if you're not quite aware of exactly what that is. Okay. Okay, so now they're going to, which email is this? Okay, so this is the second to last email. Okay, so you're asking about an energy you felt like it belonged to you that you needed to integrate. So you kind of sucked it in and then you felt like you were kind of all over the place. Okay, so there's a feeling from them like, with rare exceptions, um, the majority of the time with you anyway, it feels like if something is almost feeling like it wants you to absorb its energy, it can kind of pose like you or feel like you. Maybe it's something that's been with you for a while and it feels familiar, or maybe it's masking its energy in some way. Um, but it feels like, generally speaking, it isn't good for you to focus on absorbing something else. And also, they're also saying that you've had enough of that because you tend to be very open. So they're saying, if anything, you kind of need to have some energies drained out of you, but not in a way that it would be draining, in a way where it almost frees up your space more so that your own chakras and everything can be charged up. So they're saying that even this kind of concept that you've been having lately of, okay, I want to more focus on my own energy, being in my own space, generating my own charge, in a sense, my own current of energy, and being more focused on that, or kind of in my own zone. They're saying that that is a really good thing, that that's helping to charge your chakras. They're also saying that that is happening more and more naturally. It doesn't feel like there's a lot that you can really do to be in your own space, um, that isn't kind of obvious, in a sense. Um, Closing off to outside energies, closing off empathically. So protecting your space, zoning in on your own energy, having alone time with your own self, doing things that feel like they benefit you, also doing things that feel like they are utilizing your energy. So even if that's like yoga, like you were mentioning, this is breathing. It's focusing on different energy centers, and at the same time, focusing on healing different parts of the body and working different chakras. So this is engaging with your own energy. Even meditating tends to engage your energy field. They're saying, though, even something like running, so there are also different physical activities that don't even seem like they're more focused on your energy body, um, but they're actually helping to release a lot of energy, and they are actually engaging a lot of different chakras. Also, they're saying doing things that you love, spending time in nature, doing activities with people, um, that you like, people that you actually enjoy being around, or animals, even things that lift your vibration. So they're saying that you can see this as almost kind of vague because it is kind of general, but they're saying that this is what works. This is kind of this standard way of doing things when it comes to physical actions, but they're also saying that everybody is different. So it has to be applied with what works for you. But generally, it is about shifting yourself through a physical action. And remember, they're saying that thoughts and emotions tend to be linked to a physical thing, whether it's some kind of physical action, or a physical experience that happened triggers an emotion or a thought, or vice versa. A thought or an emotion triggers an experience, like maybe it triggers somebody else to respond to you in a specific way, or it triggers you to do certain things, and act on them in different ways. They're saying that that's something really important. That's like an important message that they need to deliver, and make really clear, is that your your physical actions are always tied to some kind of thought or emotion. So it really does have to do a lot with your routine. So they're saying that if you want to shift the way that you feel and that you think, it's important to shift your routine and think about all the things that you do. Even if there are some things that you kind of have to do, that you're in a sense stuck with right now, you can look at them differently, or maybe there are little small things, um, within that you can do differently. Maybe even if it's changing your physical environment in some way, um, or even if you can't change your physical environment in any way, um, maybe you can even wear something different. And if you see this certain thing, it's going to cause a different thought. It doesn't have to be that exact thing. You don't have to wear a specific necklace or something, and you're gonna say, okay, or bracelet would probably be better in that case. Okay, every time I see this, I'm gonna think a different thing, or I'm gonna have a different emotion, or I'm gonna remember this specific whatever it is. So it can be something like that, but that's kind of a suggestion. Sometimes even, things that you're seeing like in your physical environment, whether it's your home or your workspace, even that, if you change it, it can alter the way that you see things. So really, change is, the the way to remove a thought form, really, because thought forms. Okay, so like the way the council teaches thought forms, they always teach them in three levels. And it starts with a belief, and then you have a pattern, and then you have an identity. So that means basically you're completely, like, you're identifying with this belief, basically. But once it's at level two, where it's a pattern, you're identifying with it enough to where you're acting on it really consistently, or consistently enough to call it a pattern, some kind of cycle that you are in. Whether it's like somebody has been smoking. Maybe it's not an identity level yet. Maybe they haven't done it for a year or longer than that, 5 years or something. But maybe it's still a consistent pattern that they've gotten into. Maybe they've done it for 6 months or something like that. That's definitely a pattern, even if they're not maybe fully identifying with it yet. Um, but you can definitely see where once it's at that level, if it doesn't go back, if it doesn't shift where they're breaking the habit and stepping out of the habit, they're going to continue to get deeper into the habit. So change, they're saying, is really what it has to do with changing um, your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions, your energy, but it all has to do with the physical as well, since that's something that you can do in the 3D, that you can easily see. You can easily tell that you're doing something different. And they're saying that that tends to ripple through the other bodies. So this kind of concept that you've come to, where you were already starting to change your routine, they're saying that that's going to go a really long way, and you have to kind of shift it as you feel required to do that. So whenever you really feel to do something else, and you can try different things. Or you can keep doing the same thing if that's obviously if that's what's working and you really feel like that's working, then that's what you need to keep doing. Okay, so I know there's a lot more that they can talk about and more questions to answer, but that is all for now for this reading. So thank you very much for another reading. As always, I truly hope that it benefits you. Namaste.